10 things we love about Stacey Mitchell. Number 10, takes her job very seriously. Only Stacey would take a detail in the Deep South after a hurricane. Number 9, goes the extra mile to look smashing and well accessorized for work, which is remarkable considering she single-handedly kept the West NTSC compliant with agency telework goals. Number 8, cares about others and her community, even those frequent visits from the neighborhood kids. Number 6, Stacey is quick to volunteer for any project. She never lets lack of knowledge or experience prevent her from clearly expressing the correct way to do things. Number 5, interesting word choices. Blue skies for crying in a bucket. Number 4, you can count on Stacey to have extra snacks on hand when the 3 p.m. hunger monster strikes. Number 3, Stacey is an oracle. She can provide learned consultation on topics ranging from how to print high-resolution images to the Montana State Bobcats' chances of winning their next big game. Number 2, she's quick with a kind word and a smile, even if you're on her naughty list and if she's in severe pain. Number 1, her effervescent personality is infectious to others. Please see recent e-directive on vaccinations for qualified applicants.
So this is Bob Gillespie, and my first memory of meeting Pat Shaver was at a range health training in Central Washington. And there, of course, he stressed the importance of having reference sheets and all that good stuff and ecological site determinations while you're doing rangeland health. My next meeting with Pat was when I came to Oregon as the state rangeland management specialist. And I saw him in the corridors, and he asked me how I was doing and what I had done, and I told him that I had used rangeland health up in Washington and appreciated his guidance on that. And he said, "Oh, did you have a reference sheet?" And I says, "No." And he about jumped down my throat and yanked out my stomach for that comment and for using rangeland health without having a reference sheet. I took a deep breath, stood my ground, and said, "Pat, I did it because it made me look at other things on the ground that I had not looked at before." He calmed down, and I calmed down, and he said, "Yeah, okay, I can buy that, but you better have a reference sheet."
Stephanie Ashman appeared to be a model citizen, a devoted American. Laudatory words poured in for her retirement. It appeared that her life followed an ideal trajectory. California High School All-State Orchestra, Mariner Girl Scouts, 4.0 at UC Davis, a dedicated Big Sister volunteer. A team player by most accounts. Yet new evidence suggests a more disturbing story. Despite remnants of her links to Nebraska, in fact, Ashman betrayed those roots early. Her father, an academic, uprooted the family to California as America rocketed toward the 1960s. Her supporters cite a difficult job to clean up a remote Pacific island, heavily bombed by the U.S. Navy. But are these images of supposed remediation legitimate? Or could they be from the rumored Ted Turner version of an older and little-known documentary? The original is unaccounted for. and TBS denies the existence of a restored version. Even more mysterious, a trip to Moldova sometime around 2005. These images may show an attempt to build international relations, but no government agency would speak to us about the trip. Then there is this startling confession. We obtained this heavily redacted letter submitted shortly before Ashman left federal service. In light of what we've discovered, did these pictures show an effort to advance conservation principles or to promote a more sinister agenda? And finally, this photo procured from a source in the South Building from September 2011. Ashman's team spent 1 week in the nation's capital using government ID to gain access to restricted areas. Advanced techniques, apparently, were deployed when ID proved inadequate. Who really is Stephanie Ashman?
Pat's very proud of his heritage. I remember one time down in Louisiana, we were walking across the street and he says, "Slow down, they'll think you're a Yankee and they'll shoot us." So every time we go in now, I have to check with Pat to make sure I got the proper speed, make sure I'm not a Yankee.
Pat enjoys brewing beer. A couple years ago, Pat and I were attending a conference out of town. We'd gone out to dinner, and I had gone back to my room at the hotel. I was giving a presentation the next morning, and I wanted to make sure I was well prepared. There was a knock on the door, and it was Pat, and he had a glass of beer. Apparently he travels sometime with homebrew. So I took the glass, said thank you very much, and sat down to get to work. When I was about halfway done with the glass of beer, I decided it was time to go to bed. You've all heard of near beer. I'm pretty sure what Pat had brewed up that time was near Everclear.
Well, Pat and I have bluegrass in common, but I think we're somewhat different in our tastes, mainly because perhaps he's from Oklahoma and I'm from Tennessee. And being further away from Nashville, Pat's taste in bluegrass hasn't caught up. I tend to like what's called new grass, a more progressive kind that is often without lyrics. But Pat is into the old time stuff.
All right, I've been asked to give a short presentation about Meg, and I'm really honored to do that. I've known Meg for just short of 5 years, and she's been a very interesting person to work with.
If you ask me who at the WNTSC has made me the angriest, it would be Meg. And if you ask me the person who I've laughed the most with, also Meg. Selective memory is a powerful force, and I've already forgotten those 1,000 things we've argued seriously about. But Meg's morning visits, those I'll miss.
Meg was also the cover girl for the Montana Farmer Stockman magazine, which I believe Meg has a copy to this day.
When Meg Bishop was selected to be the environmental coordinator for the West NTC, my initial reaction was, what does Meg Bishop know about NEPA and so on? And she has done nothing but impress me since she started that job, and it's been great working with her.
We come in early to work. Meg shows up between 5:30 and 6 every morning, and we chat about just about everything before we get to work at 6 o'clock. Meg's a very interesting person, and I hope that we all at the Tech Center can stay in touch and continue to use and abuse Meg in any way that we can to help us get our work done. So, Meg, congratulations on your retirement. We all wish you the best, and good luck.